Welcome to Dev Talk with Dan, the podcast where technology and conversation meet. I'm your host, Dan, and today we're joined by Chelsea Snider, a talented developer and Carolina Code School graduate. Chelsea shares her inspiring journey into software development, covering accessibility, mentorship, and diversity in tech. So let's get started and explore the world of software development through Chelsea's eyes. Today I'd like to welcome my guest, Chelsea Snider, who came from a different background and ended up in technology, and we'll hear a little bit about that journey, but also as a graduate of the Carolina Code School. So welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, can you share some of your journey from the optical industry to software development?
I certainly can. For the past 7 or 8 years or so, I've been working in the optical industry primarily as a lab tech and then a lab supervisor. And I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed helping patients, really helped being able to improve their lives and create the glasses they need that improve their sight. And but I just felt like it wasn't the best place for me. And for my goals and aspirations in life, I wanted something more. I had dabbled in software in high school and really enjoyed front end development. It felt like I was just making a big collage, but I didn't know if I was capable enough to do it outside of just a high school setting. So I put it on the back burner for a long time. And one of my best friends is a software developer. She is a lead Ruby developer. And she helped motivate me during COVID after I had gotten laid off to explore new opportunities and to try challenging yourself to do different things. So I decided, I really liked building websites a long time ago. Why not try it again? And I tried the Udemy route for quite a while, but I felt it was difficult to stay on topic and get that work done just by myself. I needed that motivation, I needed that drive, and I needed mentorship because I learned a lot from others. And so I decided to look up some local software development boot camps, and I found Carolina Code School, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Nice. How did your artistic background influence your approach to coding and problem solving?
Oh, that's a great question. I have always been an artistic person. In fact, my original career path that I wanted to do was art history. So I had studied art, and I was in the honors club for art whenever I was in high school, and also being in the optical industry I think has influenced it as well because it makes me understand how much accessibility and needs need to be met in order to make websites helpful for everybody. So I think the blending of those backgrounds has really helped change how I or influence how I create front end development websites or static websites or just work on things like that. So yeah.
Right. I find that developers who generally implement designs from Figma or something like that that's given to them from a designer don't necessarily take into account the accessibility requirements to go with that. Often the designer at least takes contrast into effect, but when we start talking about ARIA labels and things like that to support screen readers and things, unless you're using a tool that you're plugging in that came from somewhere else that's got it built in, I don't think a lot of people put forethought into that. It's always an afterthought, like we'll come back and glue that on later, right?
Yeah, and I honestly think that that should be a forefront. Um, uh, and I work with people who are challenged with their site every day, and I still do since I have yet to get a job in software development. So I was lucky to be able to go back to my old career, and but people don't realize how many people out there do need those accessibility options, and limiting people ability to use your website just hurts your bottom line. So having your website be accessible to everybody and thinking about the needs of others can really make a difference in how your company can grow and thrive.
When you decided to pursue a software development path for earnest, what other challenges did you face? You mentioned the Udemy route wasn't best for your learning style, but were there other challenges as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of my challenges were just internal within myself, seeing if I am good enough to do this or smart enough or capable enough. I had a misconception that a lot of back-end development or just development in general was very mathy, and I have never been a very mathy person. The A lot of the energy in my brain goes to my creative side. So I was didn't think that I would be a good fit for development, and I'm very glad that overcame that hurdle and pursued something that I was uncomfortable in. And I realized just how much you can grow in uncomfortable situations. I think those are some of the best periods for self reflection and growth. But they're the hardest periods to actually put yourself into. If you are too scared to be a developer, I think that makes you a good developer already. Because once you get through that, you'll break those barriers and you'll realize that you can do it. Anybody can learn how to code. It just takes a bit of time and effort and confidence
And practice.
and a lot of practice.
Yeah, and a lot of learning another way not to invent a light bulb.
So true. That is so true. Yeah, find a method somewhere and you're like, I bet I could do it better. Just do the methods that you learn about because those are generally the best practices.
How did your role as a teaching assistant at Carolina Code School impact your own learning and teaching style?
It really helped me put a lot of things into practice. During career services at Carolina Code School, we did some personality assessments afterwards and spoke with the success coach. And I found out that my leadership or personality style is more suited a silent leader and someone who is in the background helping support others in order to succeed. I personally don't like to be the center of attention, and I don't like a lot of eyes on me. But I really love to help. I really love to help others, and I think I've always had that in me. Especially coming from the optical industry again, being in customer service and helping patients is my number one priority. And changing that from patients to students, that didn't change any priorities. I get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing others succeed, and I know that there were so many concepts that I struggled with, and I am so thankful to have already gone through the program. And I know that it's like trying to drink out of a water hose or a fire hose. My mistake. You just can't get it all. A lot of that extra knowledge and understanding comes afterwards. But I was very happy that during my time at Carolina Code School, I was able to work as hard as I did, and I was able to use the fruits of those labor and those blessings to help others. So I have been extremely proud and impressed of the students that I helped out with, and hopefully I get to do that again.
Awesome. What advice would you give to those who are looking to break into the tech industry?
Learn now. Um, Learn now. Find what interests you about software development, whether it be the creative side or the logical side, and then just really dig into that because there are so many vast parts of software development that you would never understand if you don't look for it. There are so many different avenues. Just find one or two things that you interest you and then just start exploring and go down a rabbit hole. Eventually, you'll find if you're a front end developer, a back end developer, maybe you're not a developer, maybe you're more in accessibility research for UI UX or product management, or there are so many different roles that you can play. You don't have to just be a coder, and but coding is a lot of fun. So just be earnest about what you're wanting to do and really explore your options.
And there are a lot of facets to software development, especially when you talk about from the conception to the delivery of the product and all of the different people who are involved in the process and the roles that they play along the way. But even when you get into software, different languages speak to different people. and different functions within that. Even maybe you really like the database data analytics side, or maybe you really do like the design part, or anywhere in between. Because there is, as you learned, it's not all math. It's both art and science in crafting solutions. Because there is no here, solve this. Oh, I know the one solution. Because there are many ways to get there from here. So there are ways that suit all kinds of styles and approaches. And I think it is important to find the thing that, I think that's nifty about code school, is you get exposed to many different parts and can kind of find the thing that, oh, I really liked that part that we were doing, or that part that we were doing, and really, like, yeah, double down. That's your niche, that's your specialty, that's the thing that excites you about software. It doesn't abstain you from learning other pieces, but it gives you something to be passionate about. And then when you're on a team, you can round out a team by bringing that particular passion.
It's such a good way to put it. Yeah, because there are so many different skill sets, and no one can learn everything. And you know, that's why you should definitely find what interests you and get passionate about what interests you. And there's a team out there that needs your passion, that needs your skill set, and that you have a place. So just find that one facet and go at it full force.
Absolutely. So, how do you approach mentorship, and what qualities do you think make a good mentor?
I think one of the best qualities that I'll start out with best qualities, I think someone who can listen, and someone who cannot bring their ego into this, because it's really not about you. It's about the students, it's about the people. And you should realize that even though you are very talented as a mentor, you may be very talented, maybe very educated, you are tasked to bring somebody up to a higher level. And sometimes people can ask dumb questions. There are no dumb questions, but just be there, be present, listen, try to understand the level of your mentees and find ways to relate to them. Not everybody is called to be a teacher or a mentor, but fantastic mentors are just people who enjoy teaching others and sharing gifts. So every day you are working to help others become a better person and a better employee, and you should take pride in that. And what was the other question? I'm so sorry.
Um, well, guess what qualities make a good mentor? So you pretty much covered all of that.
Okay.
Do you find that by participating in the mentoring and teaching process, it made your understanding of the fundamentals even deeper?
Yes. I had to think of things at different perspective because everybody's brain works differently. And ultimately, you're trying to get to the same outcome. You're trying to teach about APIs or, how data transmits or just in general what full stack development is. So you have to find ways to relate to your mentees and what they already know. And then you can find those branch paths off of that. And those branch paths will eventually converge into a solid understanding of the concept or a function or whatever they're struggling to understand. And there's no one right way to teach. A lot of teaching or mentorship, again, is just finding the right way to connect with who you're helping and find the right way to um, help them along with their understanding with supportive knowledge that they already know.
Right. If you can build the knowledge step by step. So, as a transgender woman in tech, what challenges have you faced, and how do you advocate for diversity and inclusion?
It it certainly has been difficult. I think it depends a lot on the areas that you're around. Um, I've personally been struggling to find work. And I know that there are a lot of the transgender people are a hot topic no matter what. It's just all in the news cycle, unfortunately, and these are people who just want to live and to work and to be productive in society. But I understand a lot of people have apprehension about that and are confused and don't want to bring on somebody who they may think is um, going to become a challenge to the rest of their team or their culture. But they fail to realize that I'm just like everybody else. So eventually, I will find my place, and it will be a place that's accepting of me. Um, but I think this same struggle is happening with a lot of other transgender women, men and women. It's how can we show people that despite our differences, we're coming together for a common goal, and we have talents that I think make us just suited to be software developers. Because if we can reason with ourselves through logic about our own internal identity and gender, I think we can help, troubleshoot some issues with an application. So, but I am a big advocate for diversity because if you hire the same people from the same university with the same background, you're going to get the same solutions. And those might not always be the best solutions. If you have a diverse group of employees and teams, you're going to come up with more creative solutions. These solutions can help, anything from bring down costs to increase efficiency to find ways to increase outreach for your customer base or clientele. And I think there are far too many benefits to be aware about by bringing on diverse people um, and just taking a chance. And I know that diversity is a hot button issue. Um, and there's been even some recent attacks in like DEI initiatives, but companies benefit from these. And I think they should realize what they stand to gain rather than what they might perceive they stand to lose, which is really nothing. Just take a chance on people. And even if, you know, you don't understand it, that's okay. Um, just see how people like me or diverse people can help benefit you. Because at the end of the day, I just want to be an employee and clock in, clock out, and provide meaningful solutions and productivity. So I'm no different in that regard as any of your other employees.
Technology in general has had a black eye when it comes to underrepresented groups, um, and excluding them. And the DEI initiatives, of course, were made to curtail that problem, but maybe even made it worse because then you're looking for a DEI hire instead of the best person who rounds out the team with the skill set to produce the solution for the customer, right? And so I think it comes back to what we were talking about earlier about finding your passion in software development and being able to tell that story during the recruiting process to allow the hiring manager to see how, to picture how you could fit in on the team to make the team um, more productive, more efficient, more better problem solver. Your example of hiring this exact same kind of people from the exact same university, providing the exact, you know, they know one way to do it. That's the way you get. I used that example like just 2 weeks ago. So it's a thing that professional hiring managers have struggled with, and I think there's a resurgence of thought about how to give underrepresented groups a voice, um, and and to present a company with those. I think remote work has made a big difference in being able to hire the best talent for a role as opposed to just whoever is geographically available, right? So I think we get to then see a better representative group in a candidate pool and really get to dig into what the skill sets are that will round out for the role that we're hiring. So I hope we're seeing positive change in that direction. I think there is definitely a need to talk about it a lot more and make awareness. At the end of the day, yeah, we all want a job where we feel productive. And we want to work with a team where we don't dread getting up Monday morning and going to work, and we understand the value that we bring to the company, right? To to be part of something bigger.
Completely agree. And I also understand how difficult it must be for hiring managers to find the right candidate, especially with the influx of how many candidates are in the market right now. But also, how do you judge, education and experience and things like that? Just because they might come from a prestigious university or seemingly have the credentials behind them, just how much of that candidate, what roles can they fulfill to the best of their abilities, and especially with the rise of code schools. And I don't want to put any code school, throw them under the bus, but there are a lot of code schools out there that are just ill-equipping their students and throwing them out in the market. And a lot of hiring managers and companies eventually come to understand that. um, so I also understand the different um, mindset of whenever you're hiring a non-traditional developer. You just how far can they grow? How far can they go? And how much are you going to have to teach them to bring them up to speed if you need to? But it's also even more challenging with how fast technology is moving. Both hiring managers and universities might struggle keeping up with the latest technologies because they have these curriculums, and it might be a lot of work to update these curriculums, sometimes even mid semester. And I do think that's one area where boot camps can shine because they do try to stay on top of trends. Um, because they have to. There's they don't have the time to teach people, a 4-year university. They need to teach people what's hot in the topic right now, what people are the tools that people are using right now, which might be a tool that wasn't even in existence months ago. So that also makes it difficult for hiring managers to understand, this person's working with these tools and technologies that you may have never heard of. Does that mean that they're a good candidate or a bad candidate? I don't know. Um, such a fast moving industry that going back to tried and true methods of, do you have a college degree and what college did this come from? I don't know if that's sometimes the best way to hire, but at the same time, how can you evaluate those tools and technologies, even if they do become the best solutions? If you're not aware of them, how are you going to be able to judge them and determine if somebody with those types of skill sets is as good or better as somebody from a 4-year degree who had to learn the tried and true method, that's been from a curriculum etched in stone. So there are definitely a lot of pros and cons coming from a non-traditional background, and seeing the industry move away from some DEI initiatives, which I do agree that can be problematic. Um, but I feel like finding groups that are underrepresented or finding people from non-traditional backgrounds definitely can provide unknown benefits. But that's the problem. They're the unknown. So it's hard to evaluate those.
And I think we're seeing a lot of that in the current rumblings about hiring practices and the number of rounds and the technical challenges and the do work for free at home, just let's see how you can code, as opposed to I think looking for people who display critical thinking and show a passion for software development, because they're always going to be more curious, they're always going to outlearn somebody who's in it for the money, right? And they'll have more successful careers. But again, there's a whole lot of things that have to align for that to work out, right? You need to get in with a good team that has people who have uh, the ability to mentor and have had experiences that they can convey in a non-judgmental way, and that there is no dumb question, and you have a manager that's of a caliber that's not a micromanager, and a lot of things have to come into play in order to build a successful career. But I guess you got to get past the interview and get hired first, right?
That's the struggle. So, I mean, it is such a crazy environment right now with hiring practices and with just the market in general. I am excited to see how everything, whenever the dust settles, what this industry looks like. But who is it rough to go through it? So
Yeah, I was recently laid off as well and have just obtained a new job. So I was part of that mix. I put in over 200 applications. So I did my time, fresh. It still hurts a little bit. But um, you did have some experience through the Develop Carolina program as an intern with Booz Allen Hamilton. Is that something like the internship program, something you would recommend?
100%. I think I grew far more on the job than I did at Carolina Code School. I was able to learn the basics and get to a degree where I could really take off. Being able to have mentors through the Develop Carolina program was such a huge help. Being able to work in teams and start to understand agile methodologies and be able to understand what it really is like to be on a part of a team and have those expectations on you. Suddenly, I think my skills and abilities, especially getting grilled through code reviews, those were some of the most foundational moments of my career so far, and provided me opportunities to learn so quick, especially working with Booz Allen, where um, they'll put you through their department for code labs, which is an experimental department. It is the perfect place to fail. It is the perfect place to try. It is the perfect place to throw something at the wall and then get shot down. And then you learn, oh, I could do this so much better. You know, I think that was one of the best experiences that I could have had. And there were so many moments in that internship that really helped me grow. Um, and plus, you get to work with a whole bunch of cool agencies. So I feel like I got some bragging rights saying that I worked for the Veterans Affairs and also for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Agency. It was just so diverse, and being able to work with that many clients and so many people, um, the internship is something that I would definitely recommend to anybody.
So, what kind of role are you looking for now?
Uh, I love front end development and I want to stay with my passions, but I don't want to box myself into a niche exactly quite yet. I am a trained full stack developer and I am comfortable working in Python and now Java Spring Boot. I think they're wonderful languages, and especially being able to work on the back end in more strict type languages is such a helpful experience. Um, so I'm trying not to choose exactly one way or the other exactly right now, but I do love front end development. I think that would be a blend of learning UI UX and developing those based on the Figma docs and the wireframes. It's a very exciting thing for me. But I also do love um, trying to troubleshoot API issues and making sure that all your data is transferring correctly and that your backend is working and set up. That is an exhilarating process as well.
So, what's one last thing that you would leave a listener with as they're considering perhaps making the jump into software development from another career path that they've chosen?
Do it. Um, Try it. Try a Udemy course. That wasn't my best way, but that was my introduction. Find out if what you like. And then once you get through it, do not shy away from volunteer work, especially in this industry with the industry right now. um, do not code alone. Find ways to code with other people. That way, you are contributing to team groups and projects. Even if it is a volunteer project and you might not be getting paid, that's okay. You're gaining experience because companies can teach you how to think. Or a company can teach you how to code. My mistake. They can't teach you how to think. They can't teach you how to communicate. So find ways to bolster those skills. And if you're not finding work like I am, you better be finding projects and people to talk to and communicate with and finding ways that you can help contribute. Because when the dust settles, or when hiring starts picking up, um, people don't want to hire somebody who codes by themselves in silence. They want to see people who can work in teams and who can contribute meaningful work to a greater overall, goal.
Yep. Coding is a team sport.
It really is.
Well, Chelsea, I thank you very much for being on Dev Talk with Dan. It was my pleasure.
And thank you so much for inviting me. This has been an amazing experience, and I really appreciate having the moment to, let people get a chance to meet me and get a chance to, see what I'm about. So, thank you.
From Dan and Chelsea, we wish you a happy tech life. Bye.